Hey, in this video, we're going to look at creating a timeline view in Airtable. And that timeline view is going to be for a marketing or a number of marketing campaigns. Let's say you're running an e-commerce business and you have a number of products and you have email campaigns or just in general marketing campaigns running for that product. And you want to be able to see the channels that you're running these campaigns in per product. Here's the output. Here's the final product that we want to get to, where we've got a timeline that is grouped by the channel and then has the products underneath the channel. And then within our timeline view, we can see the campaigns that we're running for that product within the channel. So this could help you keep track if you work in marketing or you're just working in, you have an e-commerce product and you're trying to determine what's happening and when it's happening. We can create a timeline that can help us look and see what campaigns are running, when they're overlapping, when they start, and when they're finished. So let's get into creating that right now. Okay, so let's start with the structure of our table so far. Now we've got a base here called e-commerce marketing campaigns. We've got three different tables. We've got products, email marketing, and Twitter. The products table is for storing your products. We've got an ID auto number field, we've got a name field, and a description field. So these are your products. Then we have an email marketing, which is for tracking our email marketing campaigns. We have a name for the campaign, a start date, an end date, a link field to the products that we want to associate this email marketing campaign with. So if I click on plus, you'll see I can choose from one of my products. And then we have this column for show and timeline. We're going to use this to show these campaigns in our timeline later. The Twitter table has exactly the same structure. So you could have as many of these as you want for your different campaigns or campaign types. Or not campaign types, in this case channels, the different channels that you want to have your campaigns running in. What we need to do is create a intermediary table, or what's sometimes known as a junction table, to bring all of this data together into one place and then create a timeline view on it. So I'm going to create a new blank table. I'm going to call it campaign tracking. And I'm going to create a number of fields or columns in here. Okay, the first one I'm going to do is that each of these campaigns that we want to track is going to need a start date and an end date. So we can create new fields called start date for one, and then another one called end date. The timeline view needs dates to work, so that's why we're creating these to begin with. Okay, the other thing we need to do is we need to link to the individual campaign or channel tables that have been created, the email marketing and Twitter. So we'll link to a record, we'll call email market, we'll link it to email marketing, we'll call the field email marketing, and we'll only allow linking to one record for now. It's asking us if we want to add lookup fields. In this case, we're going to skip that. Let's add another field, this time for a link to the Twitter table, and we're going to call this Twitter, and we're going to uncheck allow linking to multiple records. So we've linked both of those channel tables that have the campaigns in there, and the next thing we want to do is link it to products, because we're going to have to show which product in this timeline. So we'll link to another record, choose products. I'll label this product, and we will only allow linking to single records. So we'll uncheck or toggle this option. I'll click create field. And then the one thing I want to pull in from this is I'm going to want to pull in the name of the product, because that's going to be useful later. So I'll add that one field as a lookup field. And the other thing that we want to do is in the timeline, we want to be able to group by the channel. So the one way we can do that is we can add a new field, and we can call that, let's say we'll call it channel, and we'll make it a single select. And then the options we'll add in here will be Twitter and email, or email market. I'm going to put email marketing. I'm going to create the field. Okay, so if we can just shuffle these fields around, I'm going to bring product back to the beginning, then I'm going to have email marketing, then I'm going to have Twitter, then I'm going to have start date, end date, and channel. Maybe I'll put channel after a product. Okay, so if we were to create a timeline, we want to populate some of these. So let's say we add a product. We'll choose Eco water bottle, product 1. The channel for this, we're going to Actually, we'll move channel over after our choice of channels. We're going to do the email marketing campaign for the water bottle, which is this subscriber outreach. So if we look in the email marketing table, we've got subscriber outreach for product 1 that's showing up there. So we'll add it in here. We'll say the channel for this is email marketing, and then the start date for this campaign was the 5th to the 12th. So we will start this on the 5th and it will run until the 12th. Let's add another one. So we'll choose product, the second product, the Eco Doormat, and we'll add a subscriber outreach. Let's look at the Twitter for this. There's a promo 10% off sale for product 4. So let's add promo 10% off on Twitter for this product, and then we'll change our channel to Twitter, and the start date for that was the 7th to the 9th. So let's choose 7th and 9th. So now we have 2 products in our campaign tracking, one on email, one on Twitter, and they have start dates and end dates. So let's look at creating a timeline. So come down here to create, choose timeline, give it a name, and then we got to choose our date fields. So we're going to choose our start date as our start date and our end date field as our end date, and click next. And now we want to group these. So the first thing we want to group them by is we want to group them by channel. So that channel field that we created earlier, that single select field, we choose that. And then what we want to do is we want to group this by product. So we can pick another field and we can say group by product name, the name from the product table. And we'll choose that and we'll click next. Then what we have to do is customize the label within the actual timeline itself. We haven't created anything useful for that. The name field right now is empty. So I'm just going to leave the name field and click done. And now you can see we have a timeline view that is grouped by the channel, in this case Twitter and email marketing. And then we have the product, doormat and water bottle. And then we can see the campaigns that are running and what dates they're running on. Right now, there's nothing in here, empty. We're missing the name of the actual campaign itself. So if we go back to grid view and in the name field, we can edit that, change it to a type of formula. And then what we'll do is we'll use a formula called concatenate, and we'll concatenate 2 values. Now it can either be an email marketing campaign or a Twitter campaign. And if it's one or the other value is going to be empty. So if it's an email marketing campaign, the Twitter one's going to be empty and vice versa. So if we just concatenate the 2 of those, if one is empty, it doesn't really matter. So I'm going to put in the email marketing field, comma, and I'm going to put in the Twitter field, and I'm going to close my parentheses and I'm going to click save. Confirm that change. And now our name is the name of the campaign taken from either email marketing or Twitter. And as you add other columns to this, you can update your formula to use that. So if we go back to the timeline, we can now see that the name of our campaign lives in our timeline item. I can also modify what appears in this label here by choosing customize labels at the top, and we can add things like the start date and the end date, and you see they start to show up here in our labels. We can also modify the row height and the orientation of our labels by this icon up here between color and share view. You can do medium, tall, extra tall. So if you have a lot of data to show in this, you can modify it, and then you can change the orientation of the label between horizontal and vertical. So this is how we've gotten to this point. We can add more campaigns. However, this is manual. There's a lot of manual work going on here. Ideally, we want this to be automated so that when you create a campaign in here and you choose show in the timeline, that it would automatically show up in your campaign tracking timeline. So to do that, we create an automation. So let's create an automation. I'm going to create an automation for our email marketing. So I'm going to say add email to timeline. That's going to be the name of my automation. The trigger for that is going to be when a record matches a condition. The email marketing table, when the show in timeline field is checked, we want something to happen. So let's go back to our field, our table, check one of the boxes here in show in timeline, come back to automations and run choose record. it'll then choose one of the records from that table that has that value set. I'll choose that one. So what we want to happen whenever a record matches that condition, we want to create a new record in our product table, products table. And what we want to be able to do is set the email marketing field in our product, actually it's not the products table, it's the campaign tracking table. So what we want to do in our campaign tracking table is we want to set the email marketing field to be the value of the record in the email marketing table. We want the start date to match the start date in the email marketing table. So we'll click this gear icon, choose dynamic value, and we'll choose start date. So we're populating the fields in the campaign tracking table with values from the email marketing table. Let's create an end date. We'll populate that with the end date value from the email marketing table. And then the product needs to be populated with the value of the product from the email marketing table. And then finally, we want to make sure that the channel that we set for email marketing items in the campaign tracking table is called email marketing. So I'm going to run generate a preview for this and see what it looks like. Okay, so we can see it sets the email marketing campaign to subscriber outreach, sets the start date, the end date, sets the product that we chose, and the channel. Okay, I'm going to turn this automation on. Let's go back to our data. I'm going to unclick this and re-click it. So our subscriber outreach should now have added to our campaign tracking table. So let's go to our grid view. And here you can see our subscriber outreach has email marketing, the dates are set, and the product is in there too. And if I go into my timeline, I can now see that our subscriber outreach has been added to our email marketing timeline grouping. You can then go back and repeat this for every channel table that you have. So you would do it for Twitter, do it for email marketing. If you have another one for TikTok or Instagram or whatever it might be, you can keep adding automations. Just duplicate the one that's there and modify it. And then every time you add a campaign and choose show on timeline, it will show up. So if we chose this influencer outreach, actually let's go back to email marketing and click on this one, and it'll duplicate the one that's there. We'll get another campaign showing up right here. So that would be a way to automate the creation of a timeline for if you're running an e-commerce business and you have products that you're pushing out to social media and various other areas and you have marketing campaigns. This would be a great way to consolidate those into one view that you could then share with your team or share with your managers, and to show them what's happening and when it's happening, and you can be better organized. I hope that helped, and if you're interested in more videos like this, please subscribe and come back again in the future.